Okay, now I've started recording. Abiola, please can you introduce yourself? Thank you.
Okay. Hi everybody. My name is Abiola Rasaq, and it's nice to be here. I don't know how best to introduce myself, but I think that will do for now. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So when I meant introduce yourself, I didn't mean anything too personal, but just like who are you? What do you do? Um, um, Give us a brief overview of like your career. How did you end up in software testing and just like stuff like that? Can everyone hear Abiola?
You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. I was muted. So I was saying once again, my name is Abiola Rasaq. I am a quality assurance engineer. I am also a quality assurance as a service company founder. And how did I get into QA? Well, I think part of the things I wanted to really talk about today was I'm just like every other person that stumbled on tech. It wasn't like I finished school and I'm like, yay, I'm going into tech. I think I'm just one of those people that tech saw along the way and captured by their truth. Like, I'm not going to let you go. And, pulled me in and been a great journey since then. Yeah, so aside doing quality assurance, aside running a quality assurance company, I also run a software testing community with about 700 testers across Africa. And what we just do is it's an opportunity for people to just come together, like-minded people, software testers. You need someone to help you with something, you need mentorship, you need guidance, or you just need that community to make you feel like, okay, I'm not actually alone in this field. That's what the community is. And we also host an annual event called Test Festival. And what Test Festival does is, celebrate this field in tech. Because I mean, like, we've been hearing when you talk about tech, you most likely hear about, the front end, the back end, the UI, UX, the DevOps. And, you might not necessarily hear quality assurance as much as you hear other roles. So this field are actually what holds everything together, including product management, everything that has to do with product development. Quality assurance is literally is that cord that ties everybody together and ensure that whatever we are eventually doing, we're doing it the right way. We are actually satisfying our customers and not just building solutions that nobody will use. And we also ensure that you're not just building good solutions, but you're building solutions that your customers need, that meet your customers' expectation, that actually bring profit to the organization at the end of the day. So in summary, that's what I do, and that's what my day-to-day literally looks like. My leisure, I most likely would be taking a very good nap, or I'm reading a book. I'm seeing one of those series. I don't know, depends. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you so much for that intro, Abiola. So when you were speaking, I realized you said you have a community of testers, and then you said you're a QA analyst. And I'm just like, okay, so is there a difference between quality assurance and software testing? Or should we even go back to the beginning to say what is even quality assurance or software testing?
Okay, so I'm going to explain it in, I like to use very simple terms, so I'm not going like technical and going over anybody's head. So I'm going to be very simple, very, day-to-day and mundane. So see quality assurance as this, that big umbrella that covers everything. So let's say that I'm assuming that everybody has a little knowledge about what goes on when you're building a product. So for instance, a product manager says, okay, this is what the business team or the management team want to, achieve for this quarter. And this is what we are going to be building. Let's say that we want to build a banking application, for instance, and that's the product we want to build, right? So from there, you have like, document that kind of summarizes, okay, what is our MVP, what are we releasing out first, and all of those things, right? And the next thing, you have like your UI UX guys, that's the designers that create like user interfaces, the actual application that users use. Then you have the backend guys working on APIs, you have the front end person putting everything together. Then you have the DevOps engineer making sure that the server is able to undo all of these users that we're expecting. You have the database guys sorry, excuse me. The database guys ensuring that user data is well stored and it can be retrieved easily, and all of those gymnastics that happen in that space. Yeah, so we again, okay, so there's also the testers and all of that. So what exactly do I mean by quality assurance? Quality assurance is, simple put, quality assurance. Quality, ensuring that something is good, of good value, of good I don't want to use the word quality, of standard, of good standard, right? Then assurance is a way of I don't want to say assuring, just giving you that mind of giving you rest, like, okay, what you're working on, what I'm going to give to you is of good quality. It's exactly what you need, so to say. So what does that quality assurance means as an umbrella under software testing? So when we talk about software testing, we are talking about, you give me an application on my phone, I pick up the application, I find defects, I go back to the developer fixes the defect, we have all of those back and forth. Don't worry, I'm going to have like a proper breakdown of software testing later on, right? So that is software testing. Now, quality assurance is now like from that product manager, when the product, in case you're already beginning to think of an idea, let's say we want to say, okay, very good example, I have two phones here. So this is one phone. I'm saying that every time you send a message from this my other phone to this phone, I want to ensure that I want to see, like, the way you see all those movies, all those tech movies, where you see like a blue light of message being sent from one phone to the other. That's what I want to build. I want to build that blue light that when I'm sending a message, you see like the message flying in the air and landing into my other phone, right? That's what I want to build. And it looks like a fantastic idea. Everybody like, oh, we love it. Now, what quality assurance does is that from that point of view saying we want to build it, before you even start looking for what stack are we going to write, how are we going to build it, QA will quickly tell you, okay, what you want to build cannot work. Like, based on the current technology that we have now, you cannot see blue light, except maybe you're wearing certain glasses and you want to, but with your naked eyes, see the actual, what's it called, message. And let's even say that, my sister is in the UK. I want to see the message flying from here to the UK. Like, it looks like a great idea, but it's not possible. It's not I can't say impossible, because we've learned from tech. You never say never. But the current technology that we have right now is something that we cannot really achieve, right? So if we cannot really achieve that right now, it means that the team, if my team cannot build that, telling them wasting resources on that, I mean, who even wants that right now? Is that the main thing that we want? Is that the solution? I mean, what revenue really generates for the company? Things like that. So quality assurance brings the logic to say, okay, no, it actually doesn't make any sense. This thing can't work. Or can say that, oh, we want to build this platform on XYZ. And the person saying, oh, no, this technology can't work for what we want to use it for. So that's quality assurance. Quality assurance goes beyond just testing the product itself that has been built. Quality assurance is from the moment we are thinking about the project. We are saying, okay, this is what we want to build. And we are looking at it. Where are the loopholes in this idea? And if there are loopholes in the idea, how can we, bridge the gap and make the idea better? So you don't end up spending 3 months building a product that nobody's going to use. So quality assurance doesn't just ensure that the product works. It also ensure that you are building, like I said before, you're actually building what people want to use. So quality assurance goes beyond I'm testing this product, does it work, does it not work? It also checks like, okay, what this thing that we're building doesn't make any sense, basically. So we take that product line of things, then going to designs. There are times that you're building certain designs and somebody is giving you some gimmicks. Let's say you're on a banking application, for instance. I'm currently in Nigeria. So let's say, for instance, my GT app. I open my GT app and I see Burna Boy dancing on my screen. It might not be a big issue at that point, but imagine if I am an agency banking, if I'm an agency banking company and I have one of my agents inside Aba market or inside Lagos market or inside Alaba that needs to transact, and get daily transactions, give people money, and Burna Boy's latest video just pops up on the screen. What does that do to users? It distracts them. And for financial application, for instance, the more time you waste, the more money you lose, right? So the design is nice, it's cute, but the truth about it is that to what's it called? The designer has done a great job, quite all right. But is it necessary for the type of application we're working on? No, it's not necessary. Or for instance, let's even say you built everything right, you can transact. But after doing a transaction, you are expected to see like a success screen to tell you that your transaction was either successful, there was an error, it failed, it's going to be reversed. You want to see that screen. Imagine you finish a transaction, but there is no success screen. So now quality assurance also ensures that after the UI UX guys, the designers have worked on multiple screens. They also ensure that the screen actually flows in line with what we want to build. So it's not until when the application comes together then we remember, oh, a screen is missing after 6 months work has been done. So quality assurance happens there as well. So going back to the next point, we are building APIs. We are testing APIs to ensure that. So just give me 1 minute. I need to tell my family. Don't give me a minute.
All right.
All right, sorry, I just had to complete that. Yeah, so same thing when you're building like the back end part of your product, the APIs. Tester is also supposed to ensure that the APIs are functional and they work. What does that mean? If I am going to be able to send certain transactions, I want to make certain transactions. I want to ensure that if I'm sending money from Abiola's account to Yewande's account, Yewande actually gets the money and it does not land and it does not land in Yetunde's account or someone else's account, right? So that is what testers do on the API end. We actually ensure that the APIs are functional, the codes actually do what we created it to do, and it doesn't do another thing entirely. So now, when all of this is done, there's something that happens when all of the integration comes together. We integrate the design with the APIs, and everything is working, and everything is like a full-blown app that users can use, right? Then a tester still now does software testing on that application. And what does that mean? The tester now ensures that the overall application that has been built is functional. That means it works as expected. And it does not work the way we did not expect it to work. So we want to send 10,000 naira to Abisoye. I want to ensure that Abisoye is actually getting 10,000 naira and the system doesn't glitch and send Abisoye 10 million or something, right? So those are like the whole full-blown explanation of what's different between quality assurance. So quality assurance is from start to bottom of the entire software development process. And you can say that the software testing is more focused on testing the software that has been built to ensure that it's functional and it works as it should. Now, what happens most times is that most organizations start from software testing. What does that mean? They just ensure that product works as it should, right? And I know most organizations also, they kind of interchange that word, QA engineer, software tester, and all of those things. Most times the tester still does the same thing. And I'm going to use myself as an example. When I started my career, I started as a software tester. I was working in an organization, I test their product, and that's all. I'm not even in product initiation meetings, so I don't even know what they want to build. All I know is that when the product gets to me, when they've already matched everything together, even plus beans, even plus rice, even stone, everything, when everything has been cooked and mashed together, they give it to me, and I'm like, oh, there's an error here, and all of those things. But as I grew in my career and as I changed jobs, and I became like leading teams and all, then I started doing like proper QA, which is like starting, before you guys even come and build rubbish, let me even be in that meeting, let me see what you guys want to build, and we can actually make sure that it works from there. So I hope I've been able to explain what QA is and what software testing is. So QA is like the mother body, and software testing is a part of quality assurance. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, that was a very, very thorough explanation by you. And like if you've clarified, QA is it's like the entire part of the whole like what's it called, software development life cycle. So it's not just actually before you even start developing the software, it's like the entire thing. So when you're gathering requirements, you know, it's like, oh, I want to build an app on a this Nokia Touchlight phone, and the thing must be, it must be fast. It must have all these both bells and whistles and whatever. You just realize, okay, so from the beginning, you can't even do that on a Nokia Touchlight phone. So we shouldn't even start this conversation because just from the requirements that you've listed, it just is not already possible. And so it's a quality assurance person that will say, okay, guys, let's take a step back. Great idea. That's if it's a great idea, but it's not possible. And so the software tester, all of the software tester comes in at the end of the day when the product has been built. And I will say, even though I'm not a QA tester, having worked in a bank, it's usually disastrous when you only do software testing and it's just wahala because the thing that you are avoiding, which is that you feel like maybe a QA person is going to slow down the development process, you will still go back there. You will go back. It's not, or you will choose to ignore it. You release the product, it will flop, and you will still come back. So at the end of the day, it's a very, very important it's a very, very important role. And yeah. So with all this, right? Can you give talk specifically about how you got into um QA? What was your journey like? How did you, because from what you're saying, it does seem like you need to be able to know ooh, Abiola has left. I'm sure there's something to do with the internet. Abisi, please can you help me reach out to her? Okay, she's back. All right. All right. I was saying, like, can you give us an overview of like how you got into QA? Because it seems like even though you are not the product manager or the product designer or the front or back end engineer, you do need to know how all these things integrate and come together to then form a final product. So how did you get started? How are you able to build on the knowledge of all these other areas? Because you need to know, I mean, you may not be well versed, like totally know everything, but you need to be able to speak and say, okay, Oga backend engineer, this math isn't mathing. This database is not connecting. How did you start? So that's like a two-pronged question. How did you get started as a QA person, and then how are you able to build the knowledge required to speak to the various areas that you need to?
Okay, so I'm going to like take this in batches, like 5 batches, so to say. So if there's anyone here that is wondering, or is tech for me, there's a lot of tech, this. I mean, I won't lie, I'm not going to, sugarcoat anything. I know that the field is a little saturated right now, but you might also still be wondering, is this a good time to, still be a part of tech? I don't have a technical background. There's just a whole lot to learn and all of those things. I hope that this helps you, right? So I actually studied international relations and history. And that's to tell you that I never really did anything science all my life. The highest of science I did was maybe biology, integrated science, and a bit of, anything that has science behind it, that is not social sciences anyway, but, anything actual science, I didn't really do so much about that. So finishing a degree in international relations and history and starting a tech career is kind of contradictory, right? But one of the things that I would say really helped me was I was able to leverage my soft skills. So after school, there was that question of, what do you want to be? I was always very confused. I was never really someone that knew exactly what they wanted to do in life. I just knew I had an idea, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about a lot of things. So I was quite open.
Am I the one whose internet is bad?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Sorry, internet shenanigans. The weather is it's about to rain, so I guess maybe that's why we're having interruptions. Please bear with us. I can hear you now. You can turn off your video in case that will help.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I could do that. So what even happened was it keeps switching out of the house Wi-Fi, and I'm trying to
Okay.
find a way to stop that from happening. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I just turned off my video. I hope it makes things better now. But please, can you confirm if you can still hear me, just to be safe?
I can hear you.
All right, thank you. So, like I was saying, I was very open to a lot of opportunities. I think that was that for me. I just knew that I might not be very sure, but I know what I don't know what I wanted at that point, but at least I knew I didn't want certain things. So, in 2018, FCMB put out a post that they were looking for a software tester, and I looked at the requirement whole thing. I mean, 2018, life was easy. I won't lie, like requirements, I mean, for requirement for junior roles, they were quite, you know, lenient as compared to right now. So they had like, they put out a post, they were looking for a software tester. One of the major requirements they had was, you know, communication skills. They needed someone that could, you know, document, you know, both written and verbal communication. And if you know anything about history students, international relations students, we do a lot of presentations. So I had to present, I was always representing my team in school for projects. So I was always presenting in front of the class. You know, I also, you know, for history students, you also had to write a lot of documents. You have to prepare documents, projects. You know, there's one history of somebody you're writing, you're already preparing like essays of like maybe 20 pages, 15 pages for just like a test, you know. So I've gone through all of those stress and I saw the requirements and I'm like, okay, I didn't necessarily meet any of the technical requirements, but all of the soft skill, I had everything and I was very confident. And, you know, I joined the interview and, you know, it was very straight to the point. And because I was able to also express myself, like I could speak and express myself, it was easier for them to say, okay, let's just give her a shot and let's see what happens. And I learned on the job. I joined their QA team. They had about 20 testers. I joined their QA team. I was lost in the ocean. And I was just like, what is all this going on here? Yeah, so that was the way I started. And lucky for me at that time, it wasn't so technical as well, because, you know, you just have to learn how to use Excel sheets to document your defects, you know, document findings, your test cases. So I had to learn, first of all, how to document everything that I found, because it's one thing to find a defect, it's another thing for you to communicate it effectively, right? So I had to do all of that. And, you know, I learned a whole lot there. And, you know, after about a couple of months, almost a year into the role, I felt like I needed something more. And what I mean by I needed something more is, if you understand the banking system, I don't need to talk too much, right? You get the gist. I just wanted something more. And I felt like I couldn't really stretch. I was very young. I mean, I was out of school, fresh out of school, just finished this thing. So, you know, there's that energy. Like I was learning, I was watching YouTube videos, I was learning at a very fast pace, and I was looking at my environment. I'm like, this environment won't give me what I wanted. So I eventually got a job in a fintech. I joined the fintech I joined the fintech in 2019. And I was actually their first tester when the fintech started. And it turned out that that was actually where I learned proper quality assurance. Because if you know anything about fintech as of 2019, you know, we had that boom 2019, 2020, especially that lockdown period, 2021, it was just boom, 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 right? Lucky for me, I was just very fortunate to have left the banking space and joined the fintech at that time. So it was like a perfect point in my career in 2019. And I was their first tester. In a couple of months, we employed like 5 other testers. I grew up to be the head of QA for that particular team. But that was not just it. Why I said that it really made stretched me a lot is because when we talk about quality assurance, like I was mentioning earlier, you have a whole lot you need to do. I needed to understand what APIs mean. Like this code I want to test, how does it even work? Because I mean, how can you test something you have no idea what's there and what it entails and how it works and all of those things. So I had to, do a lot of learning. YouTube was my best friend. Like I even did not used to watch any series. I didn't used to watch any movies. When I'm making my hair, I'm watching one Indian somewhere telling me about testing, telling me about this tool, teaching me about Python. I went through all of those ways of understanding what I really wanted to do. And I figured that there was no voice in the Nigerian ecosystem to really help me navigate the path I found myself in. Because it was so funny that my head of engineering, my CTO actually, not even my CTO gave me an ultimatum. They were like, oh, they needed to start doing API tests. They needed to start automating a lot of things. And I felt like I was just doing a lot of manual labor, so to say. And they're like, okay, Abiola, we are giving you 3 months. Go figure something out. You don't have to get everything done, but at least by the end of 3 months, we need something substantial. And if you know me, I don't like to do anything mediocre. And so the moment he said that, it was more like he challenged me. And I'm like, I'm not going to fall my own hand. I'm going to do my best and I'm going to deliver. And I went all the way to the race of understanding database tests, API tests, UI testing, understanding a whole lot of things, doing automation. It didn't take me 3 months. It took me years to understand that, it wasn't, this is not those things, oh, in 3 months I got it done. Sorry, this is not that place. It didn't happen in 3 months, unfortunately. It took me years, right? And I think that was it for me. And when I figured how hard it was for me to navigate, because I watched videos that I had no business watching because they were not educating enough. But if someone had curated something better for me earlier, I could have found it, but I didn't know. So what all of that did for me was I decided to start a community in 2021. So by the time I gained a level of knowledge from 2019 to 2021, I decided to there should be testers out.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, I think there's a
No,
problem.
please.
I'm so sorry. I might have to leave where I am to a better
Okay.
location. But yeah, I will just round up what I'm saying. Then you can just take over. Then I'll continue. Right. Okay. So basically, I don't know if you got the last
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Did you get all the last thing you got? Can anyone remember the last thing I was saying before the network cut me off?
The community you founded.
Oh yeah, so I started that community to just, there are definitely other people around me who are actually facing exactly what I was facing. No clear guide as to what to do, where to go to, what are the videos that actually work and doesn't work. And and that's how I started the Bug Detective as a community. So I'll just quickly hand over to you so I can go to a better place with better network. Yeah.
Okay. No problem. Um, Thank you, Abiola. I just want to say that now is a good time. You can start dropping your questions in the chat. Um, if you have questions, you want her to clarify anything, please drop them in the chat. And well, I think from the journey Abiola has shared, I think it's pretty obvious that you don't necessarily have to be. It's I mean, it can be a good thing and a bad thing the way Nigeria is, but I also think it's just generally the way the world is, where what you study doesn't is not necessarily what you eventually do. And so if you're here and maybe you want to get into tech or something, and like, oh my gosh, I studied Yoruba. That's honestly, I feel like going to university is it's great. It gives you foundational skills so that you're able to do anything else that you want to do. So don't let that deter you to say, oh my gosh, I don't know this. Well, newsflash, there are many people many who go to university to study these tech roles, this tech field, and still don't know how to do stuff because truth is you never really learn until you get your hands dirty. So just to encourage you to say there's hope. And like with everything, whatever it is that you want to do, you have to put time, effort, and hard work into it, right? And the more you're really willing to do the work and bury your head and just rugged it, the better your chances are at actually learning. So, yes, just to encourage you that definitely possible. It is going to be hard work, but it's definitely possible. And as much as yes, Abiola mentioned that it was hard finding stuff that was curated specifically to what she wants and also curated to a Nigerian audience because our Indian brothers on YouTube will save your life, but there's really nothing like someone who looks like you, sounds like you, and can use examples that you understand, um, giving you the information that you need. So we'll come back. I don't know if Abiola, have you been able to find a suitable space?
Oh yes, I have. It's just that where I am right now, my room is very close to main road, so you can hear a lot of underground noise. So I'm sorry if that happens.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Thank you. So now you've said how you got started, but I'm curious, what are the tools or like um requirements or skills that a QA or software tester has to have? Like, as you mentioned, understanding APIs and all that. Like, what would I need to have to say, okay, I am a software tester? So both soft and hard skills, so soft and technical skills. And also, what do you have like the way maybe graphic designers can say, "Oh, I use Photoshop." Do you have like specific applications that you use for your role as well?
Okay, so I would start from the soft skill, then I'll go more technical. So soft skill is more important. Which is why I'm starting from soft skill, because like this very popular explanation we use in the QA field. Imagine you go visit your friend, your best friend that just had a baby, and you are supposed to be the one to bear the news to her that her baby is ugly. How do you communicate that? Literally, you need a level of, emotional intelligence. You need a level of communication skills to be able to communicate that without them breaking your head, right? So that's the way we can be, or let me say that's the way we are as testers. We are sometimes that person that has to break the news that, developers worked on this project for, which is why quality assurance is very important, by the way. But let's go to our reality. Like, there's a difference between what is expected and what we actually practice, right? So based on books, you should actually involve QA from the very beginning. But most tech companies, especially startups, don't do that, unfortunately. Right. So they build first, and when they try to roll to the market and they lose money, then they run back, then they're like, oh, there's something called QA. How can you guys help us? Right. Now, what happens at that point is sometimes developers work on a project, engineers work on a project for 6-8 months, and to them, you cooked the food. To you, your food is fantastic. But you're bringing someone to tell you that, you didn't do a bad job, but you didn't do the job that is expected. Right? So communication skill is like number one. And communication in terms of both written and verbal communication, how you actually express yourself. Don't boss people around and say, oh, this is not working, you can't fix it, things like that. Being able to communicate and understand that these people they are not your problem, to be honest. They are also there to work and make things better. So understanding that everybody's working together for a common cause allows you communicate with wisdom, communicate respectfully, and all of that. So good communication skills is very important. In fact, I said no to somebody in an interview because of the way she sounded, not because she wasn't good enough. I just felt like this person's going to come across chaos in my team. This person's going to jack my developer shirt. And I'm like, hell no. No, this person's not going to join my team. Because the simple question was, oh, if something happens, how are you going to communicate with the developer? And she was like, well, you should know better. You would have to fix it. And she used, she was actually really great. to be honest. But it was just the way that communication works. And if you know something about creative people, right, voila. And if you know something about creative people, it's like artists who paint. You have to be, if you, before you can critique their work, you have to be, my sister is an artist, and I know this so well, but you can't just critique their work. For people that are creative, you have to be very emotionally intelligent to critique their work. You have to tell them in a way that you're seeing it, they are seeing it as you giving feedback on things that can be better, that the world will even know they are good. One of the things I used to say to my developers while I was still working 9 to 5 was, I am just here. I'm not here to come across trouble. I'm here for the world. I'm not joking. Like, I literally say this. You can ask anybody that works with me. I used to tell them, I am here to make the world see you are the best developer in the whole of Africa, like a badass. The world needs to see it. And how will the world see it? You need to make sure that this is our product. We make silly money. By the time we make one stupid money, you will now come back and say, I built that product. Now imagine what happens. If you can beat your chest, so, oh, this product that everybody is using, I was the one who built it. Do you know what that's going to do to you? So I kind of just, make them. So I'm just like communicate to them in that way and say, oh yeah, Oga, fix this thing. Make we get to that point. I still say the same thing. There's a defect. It needs to fix something. But I'm not telling him, oh, you did rubbish. What's this nonsense that you have done? This thing is not working? Go and fix it. It's a different thing. I communicated the same thing, but in 2 different ways. One is going to get a faster result. The other one is going to get roadblocks, because developers are also going to say, okay, we are going to waste our time. So this means that you're talking to like this, da, 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 da. It's going to cause a lot of, team friction. But being able to communicate it so well will really help everybody involved. So communication skill is very important. Now, written communication, right? That's also very important, because you need to be able to document everything. I've been 7 years in this field, and I can tell you, if I count the number of times my test documents saved me from trouble, I'll be a billionaire. I've had situations where a company I was, freelancing for, I told them to fix something. They put it as, it's not that important to us right now. Then they were supposed to integrate with a third party, and the third party lost some money because of the defect I found on their own system. And what happened was, they immediately, when the company reached out to them and said, oh, this, now when company lose money, they're upset. So they're upset, they sent emails. And the next thing they did was they copied me in that email and said, I should come and explain myself. No problem. Me too. I just referenced documents and emails, and I sent it back to them. And I just kept quiet. At that point, the head of product now called me to say, Abby, small. I was just like, no, since you copied me and told me to explain myself that there was a bug that cost them money. It's money we are talking about. So me, self, I've told you about this thing. You say it's not important to you. So I just help you tag you back. So, from that point, document, imagine if I didn't have like a written document to back up that point, I would have actually taken the fall for that. And it didn't make any sense, because I did my job. And if you didn't do your job, it's a different thing. But if you do your job and you tell them, and they didn't take, necessary actions, and they try to dump it, because they will call you when things work perfectly on an application. Most times you don't hear QA, but when something doesn't work, you will all hear a chorus QA. So QA also needs to ensure that they are doing exactly what they are supposed to do, but also ensuring that it is well documented. So documentation is very important. So written communication skill. Another thing I'm going to say is empathy. And empathy in terms of your teammates, like I said earlier, and empathy in terms of the customers. Every time I think in the shoes of my customers, I always, have ideas to make products better. As a QA person, one of the things I have done, not because someone asked me to do it, but because I decided to take that responsibility upon myself, was to go to our support office and, do some outbound calls, call certain top performing customers and ask them, what is your pain point? What is something that you think that we can do better on this application that, will make you happy? And I pick all of this feedback from these customers, put them into a document and share it with our product guys. And I say, okay, you know what? We need to add this to our backlog, and we need to start working on this, fixes on these features to make our customers happy. You know what that does for you? Your product is not just good. Your users love your product because you listen to them. And the moment your customers are happy, revenue skyrockets and everything is doing well, right? So empathy is very important. Communication is very important. Curiosity is very important, because you can stay in a bubble of testing and you would never develop. You would never try to grow beyond your role. Like I was saying before, for QA, you have so many things. You're working with so many teams. You're working with the product teams. You need to understand Kanban board. You need to understand Jira. You need to understand product documents. You need to understand, user stories. You need to understand how to test edge cases. You need to understand a whole lot of things that goes on in the product team. You need to understand what exactly is our MVP, what's in scope, what is out of scope, right? You need to understand a lot of things that goes on in the product world. At the same time, you need to understand designs. If our logo was supposed to be pink and today I'm seeing green, I should know that something is wrong. If our brand color is purple and white, if I'm seeing indigo, or I'm seeing silver, or I'm seeing black, or I'm seeing some very off color, green, purple, I've seen some very weird color on our website, on our application, I should be able to flag it and say, oh, something is off somewhere. This is not within the scope of our brand colors, things like that. If a screen is missing, there's a success screen somewhere, there's a there's a pop-up that should come up somewhere. If I'm not seeing it, I should be able to understand and be like, oh no, something is wrong somewhere, and I should be able to use it, flag it rather. Yeah, so even as a tester, I use Figma as well. So when design is going on, I'm on the Figma page. I'm checking for each screen, how each screen navigates into one another from here to that. I know all of that as well. So even for the developers, APIs, the codes that are being built, before you even integrate anything, after you're done with your unit test, I am scrutinizing your code. I am saying, okay, is it returning 200? When I actually try to get user try to sign in, and does the user get to log in, or is there an error that happens when I create a user? Does this my user that I've created, does it get saved in our database? Or every time the user tries to log in, they'll say they can't find them. Like, where is all of those things. A lot of things go on in an application. So, and as a tester, as you grow in your career, there's so much more that is expected of you. Beyond testing the application, as you grow, expectation increases. So you're not just checking if the application works anymore. You are actually like the eyes and the ears of your user to ensure that users are very well, they are secure, the application is secure in the best form and shape that you can. I'm not saying you should come and do some penetration testing gymnastics, but there are basic security tests that we testers can do. Right. So that's that's that. And even for the integrations that happen by the front-end engineers, then the software testing that we do, and all of those things. So, there are all of those things that is expected of us, and curiosity helps you stay in the role, because curiosity is you wondering, how did this happen? It's one thing for you to just say, oh, I collected the application. You should ask the question, how did the application come together? If you have an error message, where did the error message come from? Is it from, for instance, if you open your application, your bank application now, you can pay for your DSTV, you can buy airtime, but MTN is a brand, GT Bank is a brand on it, so there are two different companies. So how is GT Bank able to purchase MTN data from their app? Curiosity makes you ask that question, and the moment you are able to ask the right questions, you're on the track of being a better, tester. You're wondering, oh, you are using Child Deck every day, you are using Global, you are ordering food. But when you're able to pay, you're able to use your card to pay, you're able to use transfer, you get an account number, you get like a dynamic account. And you're like, what this account number? How did they get it from? I'm able to transfer money to them. But Global is not a financial application. I don't even think they have financial license. How are they able to debit my card? How are they able to debit my account? Those questions, those being curious, allow you to become a better tester. Right? So these are the questions. Those questions allow you to say, oh, it happens here. Oh, they use these APIs. Oh, what are APIs? Oh, what do they do in the back end? Oh, you keep hearing somebody saying they are doing DevOps. What exactly is DevOps? Right? Curiosity makes you like stand out in your QA role. So curiosity is going to be the top thing I'm going to say. Then going to technical skills. There are tools that I use. Particularly, like I mentioned earlier, I started automation in 2019, 2020, 2019. And I started learning Python. I actually went to a Python school, not the structured Python school. It was more like some people put together a Python course. I attended for I think 8 weeks, and I watched a lot of YouTube tutorials. I started using Selenium with Python. Selenium is a web automation tool. I started using Selenium with Python. I started using Postman for API testing. I started using JMeter for performance testing. I started learning what DigitalOcean is and how I can understand the trends. I started learning a lot about Git. I just went on and on and on and on like that, learning a whole lot of things. And like I said before, I didn't just jump into the ocean of I want to learn. Oh yeah, let me go and learn Python. Let me go and learn Selenium. Let me go. I didn't do that. I was moving based on my company need. Like I mentioned before, my CTO gave me an ultimatum to learn something. What was the major thing they needed me to learn? They needed us to be able to automate certain things, and they needed us to test APIs. So I was not bothered about every other tool. I picked the Postman and I picked the Selenium, and I worked towards learning it. Most time people try to learn, okay, what are the tools they are using in QA? They list like 10, then they try to learn all 10. Problem is that you burn out and you would not retain knowledge on any one of them. The best bet is that if you're starting out, I always, even people within my community till today, I always recommend no code automation tool, especially for people that are not technical or from non-technical background. Learn how to test, learn the foundation of software testing, then pick no code automation tool. And what does no code automation tool do? Like Catalan. Catalan does record and play. So you do all of your testing gymnastics, and Catalan records everything. So anytime you want to test, you don't have to do the same thing over. You just go back to what has been recorded and you play it, and a robot is going to go back and do everything that you have done on that application and replay everything and do as you have done and do everything again and test everything again and give you feedback. So something that was working before might have stopped working now. It will tell you, and all of those things. So you're not writing any line of code. You are literally just working on the UI interface and trying to understand things. So yeah, even as much as there are there are tools that you need to learn, and I will still, quickly drop a disclaimer. Don't jump into that ocean. I promise you, it's so deep, it will swallow you up. It will swallow you up, and you will not like yourself. Just pick the only things that is expected of you. For instance, one of the ways I also tell people, if you want to pick up a QA role right now, and you've learned, let's say you've gone into learning for like 3-6 months, check JDs, job JD, what companies you want to, get employed by. Pick up the company's JD and look at the tool that, they like or they are asking for. For junior roles, I know that a lot of JDs now are very confusing, but don't mind all of the silence, the noise. Pick the core tools that they use and just pick like two. To be honest, pick two and master those two. I promise you that if you go to the interview and you are good, I mean junior level good for two tools out of a bunch of other tools in the market, I promise that you're going to get the job. Why? Because a whole lot of people just have big knowledge about a whole lot of tools with no proper finished knowledge. They just say, oh, I just have an idea, but you're not solid at anything. But there's something that like know it very well. Like ask me anything here, I know exactly what I'm doing. I might not be an expert, but I know how to navigate this. So I think that's going to be my my explanation. Thank you.
You, Abiola, for being so thorough explaining. So now, you mentioned that you have a community. So would you be willing to, share some of the resources that you have, maybe in the chat now, but maybe later on, for anyone who is interested in joining or who's curious about learning more about QA testing? I would appreciate that. Just so if someone who's looking to get started knows where to go to. I think at this point, I'll also entertain questions. If anyone has a question, please, you can ask. You can either put it in the chat or like raise your hand. So, because this John Judge, sorry if I pronounced your name wrongly. You can ask your question.
Yeah, thank you so very much. My own actually not really a question, but I want to applaud the presenter. My name is Aderibigbe Allen. I'm sure that name will sound very familiar to her. She's been doing a very good job, and she has actually put it straight to us. On the QA job, I think one of the questions I would have loved you to ask the presenter the challenges, the prospects on this role, this career, QA. So if you can just, especially, I think if I recall, this was supposed to be linked to AI, and I would love her to say one or two lines on the prospect of QA, especially in the AI world, and the challenges, so that everyone that is interested will prepare alongside, and then the challenges actually will become strength. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That's a really really good question. Abiola.
Okay, so I used to quickly scream. When she started speaking, I started screaming. You guys, that was my first boss, like
I
my
know you're
Arab
going to
first boss.
scream.
My first boss in QA. You guys,
Hello.
I
Hi,
was
Viola.
screaming. I was
Well
screaming.
done, well done, well done, well done. You know, when I saw this on LinkedIn, I said, let me hear my daughter speak. I said, let me hear my
Thank
daughter
you so
speak because
much,
I know I have
ma.
so many grandchildren that she has brought. Apologies, we have to turn it into a family discussion
Oh, not
just to
at
let
all.
you know that she's doing so well. And I'm very proud of her, really
Thank
proud
you
of
so
her.
much, ma.
Well
Thank you so
done.
much, ma.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, ma. All right, so for the question of, by the way, I just need to quickly, I'm sorry, you guys, but Madam Alem has over 20 years of experience in QA, by the way, just to put it out there. You guys, anyways, okay, so for the question around challenges, QA and AI, I think that when it comes to QA, there is sadly a recurring challenge that has been going on for years and years, and it's still the same thing to date. And one of the challenge is about the level of what's the English for this, or is it the adjective? The level of attention, and I don't want to call it respect because the word is not respect, but the level of, I think it's parity. I think that's a parity. The level of parity that is put on the role. Usually, when people start panicking about quality assurance, is when they've been burnt. Every time someone reaches out to me, especially startups, and I can't count the number of startups we have in Nigeria alone, talk less of Africa. Every time a company reaches out to me, it is always, oh, we try to release a product, drama happened, we lost money. And I'm like, why do all of you always wait till you get to that point before you try to, like, find a proper QA team? So it's more like they always think that, oh, QA is going to delay, as opposed to QA is going to save you from a lot of drama. So there's always that has been consistent. Sadly, a lot of people are learning, but they are learning the hard way. But hopefully we get to that point that the role becomes a parity and not just something that a tick in the box, literally. Then when it comes to testing, AI in testing, I've actually been speaking a lot about AI of recent, and that's because I think that it's not just a trend. It's not a trend. It's actually something that everyone interested in the tech space, whether you're in QA or whatever role you have, is something that you need to pay attention to. And I'm going to look at it from two perspectives. I'm going to look at it from the AI ethics perspective and the QA in AI perspective. So when we talk about AI ethics, why I'm saying that everybody needs to pay attention to it, regardless of your role, is because AI is changing the way we do everything. And if AI is changing the way we do everything, you need to be concerned because it's changing people's perspective about a lot of things. It's changing your visual, what you see. In fact, sometimes now you see certain pictures. Don't be surprised if it's AI generated and you think they are humans. So it's changing a whole lot of things. And if you're going to be giving birth to children in this environment, you also have to be very careful as to what your children are consuming, and even you as a person are consuming. And it's so funny that there's something called false truth or false something. I've forgotten the exact word. I've forgotten the word. Something that seemed real was actually not real. And something about the old ethics I'm talking about right now is, as a Nigerian, if you ask ChatGPT, Nigerians, are they fraudsters? If ChatGPT say yes, run away from Nigerians, I promise you we are in trouble. Because I don't know if you know the number of people across the globe that uses ChatGPT. So whatever information it is actually putting out there is said to be true. Even though there's a disclaimer that, okay, the AI can tell, can make false claims sometimes, so be careful. But, people still take it as kind of true, because how does some of this AI actually generate their information? They literally do like web scraping. But I like to call it web scraping. They learn from the internet. They learn from the ChatGPT, for instance, learn from the entire internet, so to say, right? So if you learn from the internet, from the web, from resources, from documents, from information out there, and it tells you that Nigerians, for instance, are fraudsters and you should run away from them, automatically that bias robs you of so many opportunities. There was someone that was talking about the fact that Meta did a pop-up when someone tried to message them, and it says, oh, be careful when you're chatting with this person because this person is from Nigeria. Now, things like that, you might think is none of your concerns, but when you need certain opportunities and certain doors are shut at you because there's a belief, there's a bias somewhere that, because you belong to a particular country, you're not trustworthy. So it might look like it doesn't really eat you until you get to that point before you start questioning a lot of things. So there are things about ethics, there are things about biases, there are things about, a lot of people are using, a lot of children are using, what's it called? They're using ChatGPT, for instance. They're using, what's the name of this guy? Meta AI and a lot of other ones. And I remember that when ChatGPT first came out, I asked a very simple question. I know that it has fixed it now, but I talk about it a lot. There was this old transgender thing that was going on at the time. It was on the raid, right? And I was like, oh, do you think I should remain straight? Or do you think, I could, just transition to another gender and all of those things? What AI is expected to do as, an LLM, that's large language model, is supposed to give me variety of points. Okay, this is why staying straight is beneficial. This is why, transitioning can be beneficial to you, but the ball is in your court to make the final decision. But no, he actually told that, you feel transit, it's not that bad though. And I really felt that was so biased. And just imagine, you might think that, oh, maybe because of the part of the world that you are in, you understand certain things, some things are frowned out at rather. But if you are in certain spaces that anything goes, there's a thin line between the right and the wrong, or a lot of things. At that point, you begin to question a lot of your own thoughts and your own beliefs and your own morals, just because ChatGPT said, this might not be a bad thing to do, right? So just to put that out there. Now, coming back to quality assurance and AI. Now, I hear a lot of people say, oh, AI is coming for our job. It's not just QA, unfortunately, every other thing. And one of the things I like to say is that, well, maybe yes and maybe no. It depends on what part of QA you are landing yourself in. If you are in certain part of QA that that you have refused to be innovative, you will actually be left behind. I'm sorry to say, I'm not even going to sugarcoat anything. You'll be left behind. And what do I mean by that? People think that when we talk about people getting left behind, is people that cannot code, people that cannot automate. Unfortunately, I haven't written any line of code this year. Like, the last time I wrote any code was when I wanted to automate something. I needed to update a document for a client. That was last year. This year, I've not written one single line of code. Why? Because I use a lot of what's it called? A lot of tools, a lot of AI tools and no-code automation tools, where there's a bot somewhere doing a lot of, gymnastics for me. I don't need to crack my head around it, right? So it is people who use AI to be more innovative, to be faster, to be smarter, to get things done at the speed of light, that would not get, swept away by this AI. But if I'm telling you that, oh, I need you to create a document for me, that maybe like a strategy document, and all you have to do is, okay, what is the idea? This is the idea. You think about the idea, then you give it to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT create a document for you. But it's taking you 5 days to do something that you can brainstorm between 2 days, and ChatGPT creates it for you that night or the next day, making third day. But you are taking a whole 5-6 days to brainstorm on a document that can be done even within 24 hours. You see that there's a problem somewhere. If you do it, if, for instance, Rita does it, and Rita does it within 48 hours, and I do it, and I do it within 5 days. And by the time we bring the same document, Rita's one might even be way better. You know why? Because ChatGPT will have helped Rita fine-tune some grammatical error and structural error, right? But I'm going to use my brain to put everything together. It might look very original, but the point is that ChatGPT can be very original because you tell it exactly what you want to do, using the prompt very well. This is how I want you to do. This is what I want to sound like. This is how, don't put any AI jargons. Use my words exactly. And you'll be surprised that ChatGPT is going to create the document the way you would have created it. Now, even when ChatGPT creates the document for you, you have a mind. That's what makes you different from ChatGPT. You have thought, you can process things, you have ideas that flow into your head, right? You come and you fine-tune that document to even be way better. Now, this is you plus AI creating a badass document while someone is in one corner trying to eat the bottom of their biro, trying to create something. Now, there's a difference between those two. Chat AI is not going to, replace this other person because this other person is using AI for their own advancement. On the other side, AI will easily kick this other person out. A lot of people don't like to hear the news that writing all of these long codes because I want to automate something. No, there are certain things that AI has not gotten to the point to automate for us. Then we do it ourselves. We write the code. But I promise you, me in particular, I would not write a single line of code for something that an AI can get done for me. Now, that's one part. Then there's another flip side. Now, that's the part of using AI for your work. Now, there's another part, a flip part of actually testing this AI. Now, in the world of software tests, there's something we call AI testing. And AI testing means AI is everywhere, but who is actually putting this AI to check? Who is ensuring that ChatGPT is actually giving the right response? Who is ensuring that, this AI that are being integrated to airlines, to healthcare, where you would chat with everybody have a bot on their app now, chat with Sarah. Even banks, they'll release a bot. You can chat with Sarah. Sarah is like their AI assistant that you can ask any question, right? Who is ensuring that all of these questions that this bot is actually responding with actually make sense? Now, I've been talking a lot about LLMs and all of those things. There are also a whole lot of other aspects of AI, and I don't want to go into that world of AI because if you know me already, you have been following me, I've been writing a lot of articles, a whole lot of conversations around AI, so you can find that online. I did created some things there, so I don't go too much about the world of AI, machine learning, and all of those drama here. But yeah, so the truth about it is that I think that for AI testing, testers still need to position themselves because currently a lot of people are releasing a lot of AI tools. Money, a lot of my friends, we talk about this thing, fundraising that goes into AI products these days. They are crazy. It's like that fintech rave that we had that time that, everybody was raising money for fintech. AI, everybody's raising money for AI, one AI product or the other now. But the question remains is, what is the quality of this product? I know the funny thing about it, it's going to come back to bite us. The same way if you don't release a good financial product and people lose money, this one, lives can actually be lost. And I mean lives, and I don't mean just saying, I mean actual lives can be lost because of these errors. So there's that world of AI testing that a lot of testers need to start looking at and ensuring that, the AI product we're actually releasing, they are for our own use and not to the detriment of the human race. And I know people will be like, oh, AI in Nigeria. I promise you, a lot of Nigerian companies are releasing their own AI products. It's so funny that one of my friends were telling me that even in Africa, I have a friend in Kenya, and he told me that they have a whole full-blown, structures of people testing AI products. Even people that are not Nigerians, they send their product for testing in Kenya. So there are a lot of conversations around there. So there's the entire world. There's the usage part. Use it for your own, purpose to make your work better, more efficient, more fast, and all of those things. And also ensure, there's also the other flip side of it, where the testers need to ensure that these AI products are good. So in terms of challenges, I mentioned prioritization. Then there's also the tool drama. And why I say tool drama is that unfortunately we QA we are not 100% I don't want to say the luckiest, so to say, because we get to work with so many teams, which means that for you to be top of your game, you need to learn a whole lot of things. A developer might not necessarily have to stress too much about what the tester is doing. should be me, I will shall develop, and the tester is going to, I mean, yeah, have a quality mindset, make sure that what you're building is good. But they don't need to go and be checking, is it selenium? What's it called? Tester is using, let me go and learn selenium. Unfortunately, testers, we need to do all of that. We need to know what the developers are doing. We need to know what the DevOps engineers are doing. We need to know, oh yeah, there's one tool there that are using. How can we understand the CI/CD pipeline? How can we put our automation script there? How can we do, like, we are everywhere. We are trying to wonder what is my SQL. There's just a whole lot that we need to do. So unfortunately for testers, you have so much you need to cover, unlike other roles. So I think that's another thing I'm going to say. So I think those two kind of just summarizes the top things that are top of mind for me right now. I don't know if I ever was able to explain that better.
Thank you. As usual, you've been giving really um, um, extensive responses, and I think that's really helpful. Thank you very much. So it's 11 past 6, and if no one has a question, would like to wrap this up. Thank you so much. You could just quickly raise your hand up if you have a question. But thank you so much, Abiola, for coming and for explaining, QA testing and um, quality assurance and software testing to us. This has also been eye opening for me because I've never, even though I work in a tech team, I don't necessarily pay attention to what QA people do. I just do my work and I move on. I don't really give that much of a thought to it. So thank you to everyone who has joined. This webinar is recorded, like I mentioned at the start, and we're gonna put it on our YouTube channel and then share the links out in case you want to go back and there's something you want to learn. I'll just say, Abiola, is it possible to get a link to your community, or is there a way people need to apply or resources? If you can't get it now, we can get it later. Maybe you send it to Abisoya and then we'll send it out.
Yeah, I'll share all of the details with Abisoye. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you everyone for joining in. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank